Today, we're forensically deconstructing exactly how Spain completely outclassed France in Dallas to book their ticket to the 2026 World Cup final. Section 1, the ultimate tactical clash, exploring the pre-match stakes. To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of this 2-0 Spanish victory, we have to look at the setup for this match. It was the literal definition of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. On one side, you had this explosive French attack that had already smashed in 16 goals, generating 47 shots on target. I mean, that's the highest World Cup average on record since 1966. And then on the other side, you had a Spanish defensive wall that had essentially achieved perfection. They had only allowed a single goal all tournament, facing a historically low 7 shots on target. So everybody watching knew something had to give. Before kickoff, France's head coach Didier Deschamps played his usual mind games. He said, "Spain can apply a lot of pressure, but we are also a team who need the ball. There will be a battle for control." Well, spoiler alert, that quote didn't exactly age well. There really wasn't much of a battle. Despite Deschamps being super confident, it was Luis de la Fuente's side that dictated the terms of engagement from the very first whistle. They entirely suffocated the French game plan. Section 2, Spain's defensive masterclass, suffocating the French engine. So how exactly did Spain pull that off? Let that number sink in for a second. 11.57 seconds. That was Spain's average ball recovery time in Dallas. It's just a staggering metric when you think about the sheer physical exertion required to maintain that. You know how the French system relies on their midfield trio of Rabiot, Tchouaméni, and Kanté to win the ball, take a breath, and launch those devastating vertical transitions? Well, Spain realized this and just sucked the oxygen right out of the pitch. The literal second Spain lost possession, boom, an organized, vicious counterpress was triggered. They gave the French midfield absolutely zero time to look up or kick a pass. And you can clearly see how this relentless, high-octane pressure shaped the entire match. It forced a deeply uncomfortable France into making these really uncharacteristic errors. In the 19th minute, Lamine Yamal drives into the penalty area and panics Lucas Digne into a clumsy foul. Then, right in the 22nd minute, Mikel Oyarzabal steps up with ice in his veins to power the penalty home. And before France could even figure out a counter strategy at halftime, Pedro Porro just ruthlessly exploited their disorganized gaps to make it 2-0 in the 58th minute. Spain simply never took their foot off the gas. Section 3, the Saliba structural collapse, when the French defense broke. Now, to really understand France's downfall, we have to look past Spain's attack for a minute and focus on a catastrophic structural decay at the back for Les Bleus. The real turning point was the injury to William Saliba. Saliba wasn't just a defender out there, he was the anchor. He kept the spacing of their entire backline completely cohesive under immense pressure. The second he limped off the pitch, that defensive organization and composure just completely disintegrated. Wide, unnatural gaps opened up everywhere, and Spain's highly vertical system is designed to instantly punish exactly that. Pedro Porro recognized those exact spatial voids the moment France lost their defensive general. It was just a textbook domino effect. Section 4, neutralizing Kylian Mbappe, stopping the world's best. Of course, structural issues at the back don't fully explain why a potent French attack put up a 0 on the scoreboard. That brings us to the million-dollar question: how on earth do you completely silence the world's most lethal forward in a World Cup semifinal? Coming into this game with 8 goals, Mbappe is practically a cheat code. Yet against Spain, he was rendered almost entirely a spectator. Well, Spain found the definitive answer, and it required absolute perfection. First, it came down to incredible tactical discipline from Pau Cubarsí. He made this highly disciplined choice to just hold the defensive line rather than stepping up to press, which completely denied Mbappe the space to spin and accelerate. Then, whenever Mbappe tried to force runs into the wider channels, Aymeric Laporte was right there, making flawless, sweeping, covering runs. But it's also fascinating to look at Mbappe himself. He seemed weighed down by psychological fatigue and appeared visibly detached from the collective French effort. So while the Spanish defense built a cage around him, his own frustration essentially locked the door. Section 5, total Spanish dominance, the undeniable visual proof. When we look at the hard data, the contrast is truly staggering. Spain didn't just win on the scoreboard. They completely outclassed France physically and technically. They dictated the tempo, outpassing France 426 to 372. But the absolute shocker here lies in the physical battles. Spain won double the aerial duels, 12-6, and significantly more tackles, 16-10. We're talking about a French team whose whole identity is built on dominating the midfield physically, and they just got thoroughly bullied. They were quite literally beaten at their own physical game. And what's really wild about this modern evolution of Spanish football is they pulled this off without needing their old-school, overwhelming tiki-taka position. They didn't just hold the ball for 70% of the match trying to bore France to death. They controlled the game through sheer, ruthless efficiency, with just 53% of the ball. They used possession to disrupt the French shape and strike the second a gap opened up. All of this led to probably the most shocking metric of the entire tournament: zero. Zero shots on target for France from their 6 corner kicks. Actually, France only managed a single shot on target in the entire 90 minutes. For a team that had scored 16 goals coming into this, to be completely shut out like that just underscores the absolute suffocating suppression Spain achieved. So as Spain advances as a complete tactical unit, does France's defeat signal the end of relying on individual superstars over cohesive systems? After researching every aspect, it is clear that France was completely outclassed by a superior system. Spain is heading to the final because their cohesive 11-man unit triumphed at every single level. France is going home because they relied on moments of individual brilliance that were just swallowed whole by that Spanish machine. It really makes you wonder if the days of throwing superstar individuals onto the pitch and hoping they'd bail you out are finally over. It's definitely a fascinating reality to ponder before the final. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the beautiful game.